Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Donna. Today's video is just a recap of the mystery card craft along that we had yesterday evening. I just thought everybody would be interested in seeing the card that we ended up making. We made a TP card. I'm just going to throw on a snapshot from the previous video which showed you the clues for the cardstock. I'm not going to go into details to what I used because the whole point of a mystery card was that you used what you thought would go together. You're going to take the first three pieces, the biggest 5-inch square pieces. This happens to be Knight of Navy, and I'm just going to score them from point to point. So I'm just using my scoreboard. I'm putting the point at the 6-inch mark and using my score tool. I'm just going to run down to the bottom and then measure, make sure that the other point is right in the spot where I needed it to be. And I'm going to do that to all three of them. Then for all the other squares that we had, the Whisper White, the pattern piece, the two little pieces, and the other cardstock, the lighter colored cardstock, that happens to be Lovely Lipstick, we're going to cut from point to point. Instead of scoring, we're just cutting. So I'm just going to bring in my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut them all on fast forward. Just going to line them up with the edge. I know where my blade cuts, so I can line it up almost perfectly. And then we're going to end up with a whole bunch of triangles. Now for the pattern piece, one of the small triangles and one of the bigger triangles, we're not going to use them. So we're just going to put them aside. You can use them for another second card if you like. And then for the cardstock pieces, the Lovely Lipstick, I'm just going to emboss them with the embossing folder that I have chosen. So all of them have got embossed. That's the 4 big triangles and 2 of the small triangles. Now I'm going to bring in back those Knight of Navy pieces and we're going to fold them along the score line. I find sometimes something that's a little bit thin will help just start the fold happening. You just want to make sure the points are as accurate as you can get. It's almost impossible to get it perfect, but you want them to be accurate, or else when you put together a TP card, it might not fit precisely. Then just use your bone folder to score the folds. Once that's done, we're going to glue them together. So you take one piece and you put it on like a diamond shape, and then you slide the second piece underneath the right and then the third piece underneath the left. Just checking to see how good my folds were and how good my points are going to end up being. Now I don't need to glue the whole thing down, so I'm just putting a little pencil mark right where that piece ends. And then I'm going to apply some liquid adhesive to that area. I just cannot put liquid adhesive beyond my pencil line. So I'm just going to put it in that one area. Once I've got the glue all down there, I'm going to slide the card back in behind the first piece or the middle piece. Make sure it's all lined up neatly, and then use my bone folder to rub the glue in so that it's all nice and flat. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Put it in, put a pencil mark, and then put glue in that one area. Attach it to the back, and I just use my bone folder to really push it down hard. Now I'm going to take the white Whisper White pieces and we're going to put them, this is considered the inside of the TP, but I needed a spot to write the sentiment. You could just replace one of the pieces on the outside and do it there instead, but I preferred to do it this way. And then I'm going to attach all 4 white pieces there. I didn't bother with the bottom triangles, but you certainly can if you like. You don't actually need all 4 pieces if you prefer not to. It's just I find that makes the card really nice and sturdy to have all 4 pieces on the inside. Flipping it back over, and I'm going to take those embossed triangles that we did, lay them all out on top, and then glue them down as well. This is actually a very simple card to make, and yet it looks like it took a long time, but once you have the pieces cut out, it's really smooth sailing. Okay, now once those are all stuck down, I'm going to take the pattern piece, and on the middle, but on the right hand triangle, but in the middle, you'll see what I mean in a second, we're going to glue that triangle, the pattern piece triangle down there, and then we're going to take the smaller triangle and glue it down right underneath there, and that's the actual front of the TP. Now this card design is not my own. TP cards have been around for years apparently. This is the first time I've tried any. I am going to post a link below of where I actually originally saw it, but she does mention herself that there's lots of YouTube videos on how to make them. Okay, now we're just going to take the Velcro pieces, so one top and one bottom. I'm just kind of sticking them together so that I can make sure they're lined up perfectly. So I'm sticking the top and the bottom, and up on the top left is where you're going to first place it. And then once you close it up into a TP, I know I'm kind of off screen there, but once you close it up, the other piece will stick to the cardstock and you will have your TP card. It's actually better doing it this way so that you can place you can see visually where you need to put your sentiment, because you actually need to turn it so that the 2 points are even. Because if you did try to do it flat, your sentiment's going to be crooked. Now when you're gluing down the sentiment piece, I'm not going into details about how I made my sentiments, because that was the whole part of the mystery, is that you would come up with something else and then see how it was put together later. So everybody's card would look slightly different. However, for the sentiment piece, I did say that it couldn't be bigger than basically 2 3/4. You might get away with 3 inches square. It doesn't have to be square, but as long as it's not bigger in any direction than that. You don't want it to go over the fold on the left, and that's simply because it wouldn't fit in an envelope the way properly. Just wouldn't fit. You need a bigger size envelope. It's okay for it to go over the fold on the right because there's going to be room. I'm going to show you later what I mean by that. And actually it looks nicer to have a little bit of it over the edge a bit. I'm using dimensionals for mine, but you can certainly just use glue or mini glue dots to glue it down. And as I said, everybody's picking their own. So you could have picked a butterfly, you could have picked a bird, you could have picked something else for your main focal image. Once I get that down there, and you do want to make sure you don't get glue on the right hand, past any of those folds, because then you're going to glue it shut and it's just not going to work. I'm going to attach some little leaves just behind my flower. And then I'm going to use a bone folder just because I did cut some of the leaves shorter, and you just used my bone folder to push the glue down and make sure it's well adhered to the back. Again, making sure I'm not putting any glue on the right hand fold or beyond any folds. And there is what it will look like when it's folded and put together. Now, in order for it to fit in the card, you would open it up and then you fold it back so that will fit into a 5 by 7 inch card. I know it's very simple to do bigger or smaller cards, but it's just I'd be worried about the envelope. If you did have embellishments hanging off the right, then it just wouldn't fit. Here are some other samples of the TB cards that I made previously, mostly using the Ornate Garden pattern paper. They're not really that involved. They're actually very fun to make, and I do hope you do give them a try if you did get a chance to make them during our mystery card craft along. That's a quick little picture of the cards that we made. Please remember to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you're notified each time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching and stay safe.